My fiance and I have been together just under 6 years, dated 3, engaged 2.5. Great relationship relatively. Our friends and family all get along well with the other person. No issues at all, except for one of my partner's best friends. Said best friend has never liked me and seemingly had it out for me the entire time. She basically ignores my existence and refuses to speak or be cordial to me, but as soon as she sees my partner, she yells and hugs him saying, "Hey, best friend," while ignoring me even though I'm right next to him. I told him about it and how it made me feel, and at first it went unaddressed 2 to 3 more times because he needed proof to make sure there was an issue. After said proof was present, he spoke to her about it and she got a little better, but only around groups of people and twice. She indicated she didn't have a problem with me, so he felt I was the only one having an issue and I needed to just approach her and talk it out. I told him I'm not doing that because she isn't my friend and he needs to do so. A couple of weeks ago, we attended a mutual friend's party. I attempted to make eye contact and say hello 2 to 3 times, but she avoided me and refused to look at me the whole time. My fiancé noticed because it was so blatant. I don't want her respect, don't need her to like me, and don't honestly want her around at all. I just want her to have basic human decency. This situation has caused me to rethink my relationship and end it because I feel my fiancé is in the wrong for engaging with her after seeing how she completely disregards me. I think now, but mostly after marriage, we're supposed to be a unit, and I wouldn't allow this behavior from a friend. I've been feeling like an asshole because we spent the better half of a nice drunken evening arguing about this, and I told him she can't come to our wedding as I won't have someone who can't seem to stand near me. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé she can't come to our wedding? Relevant comments. Somebody said, "Not the a-hole, but I am surprised that you decided to marry someone who allows such behavior toward you." Original poster replied, "I don't want to ruin what has otherwise been the healthiest and best relationship in my life, but I've been thinking hard about it because where are the boundaries?" Somebody said, "Not the a-hole. She's in love with your man. Upset that he's with you and pretending like you don't exist makes her feel better. She won't say or do anything to make him upset. She's saying she has no problem with you because the problem isn't with you. Technically, it's with him. She was hoping for her romantic movie moment when the male BSF finally realizes and falls for his female best friend." Original poster replied, "To be honest, this is what my best friend and a select few people told about this a while ago. There were times on social media where she indicated she was the ideal woman for him, that he needs someone like her commenter. Not the a-hole for not allowing the best friend to come to the wedding, but you are the a-hole for still wanting to marry the guy. Your man doesn't respect you, or he would have put his foot down with the best friend after he saw the way she continued to disrespect you after he said something to her. Do you honestly think just by not inviting her to the wedding will change anything? She's still going to be a pain in the butt after you get married. Then there will be more hoops to go through when you end up divorcing because of her." Original poster replied, "Wow, that was an unexpected twist. You're right though. I've been seriously evaluating our relationship and how this one thing is jeopardizing it. I don't want to give it up, but it does come across as disrespectful and just not presenting as a unified front, Dane." Update. The comments on my original post opened my eyes and made me realize that despite this being the healthiest relationship I've been in, it doesn't mean it's actually healthy. We've had a couple of conversations surrounding this issue, which mostly consisted of me saying it bothered me and him saying I was the only one who cared. A couple of things helped me realize my breaking point. I asked him if he would be okay with our daughter's future partner treating them like this, to which he got flustered, shut down, and said he didn't want to talk about it. I left it alone. He said he didn't want to end his friendship or do anything to jeopardize it because what if we break up? This made me realize he would not protect me as his wife since he didn't as his girlfriend. The final straw was when I expressed how much it bothered me that he wanted me to blow this off, since we, as in me and the best friend, only see each other 4 to 6 times a year. And he said, directly quoted, "Because this is burned into my brain. I know the way she treats you is garbage, but you're allowing one person to dictate our relationship. It could be worse. She could be more active. There are worse ways to meddle. People text and lie and all that to break relationships up. The first line broke my heart and told me all I needed to know. I had to truck through a couple more months of pre-planned and paid for social engagements, but I closed the curtain on any chance of healing this relationship the moment those words left his mouth. Thank you everyone for the advice, common sense, knocking me upside my head, and similar related experiences and outcomes. I'm going to go to therapy and redefine what a healthy, balanced, and communicative relationship is. Edit. The pre-planned events aren't wedding engagement related. We share a home and need to divide assets, pets, and a custody schedule. Additionally, we have vacations planned with a mutually shared friend group. Boyfriend is not part of that group. I appreciate the concerns, but I need to plan things out a little more. There will be no second chance. To those that keep saying they're freaking, probably. When I first brought this up, he became stressed and kept emphasizing how I thought he was freaking his best friend and didn't address the issue that was brought up. I don't care to know or confirm. We are not getting married, continuing our relationship. For those thinking I'm using the pre-planned events to justify holding out, absolutely freaking not. Our relationship was dead the moment he admitted she treated me like garbage and basically shrugged it off. As a note, I never asked him to cut anyone off out of his life. I simply asked for basic greetings and acknowledgement during the rare encounters with his best friend. This hasn't happened, aside from a couple of begrudging times. I tried asking him the "what would you tell your daughter to do" question. He answered that if she loved her partner, she shouldn't care about outside people. Additionally, he said he was tired of talking about it. He feels he's done all he can, and he doesn't want us to bring her up because he's tired of talking about it. I told him our relationship is done in September, when our lease is up, etc., apologized for bringing it up, and asked if he wanted to be alone for the evening. Thank you everyone for helping me realize I wasn't asking for too much. I really thought he was the one for me. But I wasn't thinking straight. I'm tired and I want better for myself. I'm okay with being alone. I appreciate you all. Have a good night. Relevant comments. She doesn't have to say that. They probably did it and not once. That's why she is so confident about her role in his life. Don't worry about the planned and prepaid events. Get out. Now. The relationship is dead. Don't wait until the stench destroys everyone around you. If the money is lost no matter what, skip on out and give yourself the gift of more time to heal and deal. Good luck. You can do this. Why do you have to truck through any pre-planned events? Honey, nothing is worth losing the time and space you will gain by bowing out now. He's made clear that you are second, at best, in his life. Losing money is not fun, but losing time, the time you could be using to heal, is the best gift you can give yourself. Be kind to yourself first. New update. My ex-fiancé did begin to make an effort to include me and make sure I was addressed during group events, even though we'd already separated. Throughout the summer, we had many conversations, not in hopes of reconciling, but mostly to make sure he truly understood the cause of our breakup. While drunk, he apologized for his messy and toxic friends, said he needed to reevaluate his friendships, and apologized for bringing them into my life. He changed his tune in later sober convos. I was met with continued excuses and my feelings being brushed off. This isn't that big of a deal. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I have friends that have done worse. The insight I received, is that the best friend was a side piece, knowingly, for like 7 to 10 years. Guy had a baby and brought his baby mother a house, car, and basically got married, all while stringing the friend along. And as a result, the best friend has since always asserted herself as being the most important woman in her male friends' lives. All in all, just gonna go to therapy, heal some crap, move on. I'm starting piano lessons soon and taking a language class to pass my free time. Also focusing on cooking again and moving my body. I'm going to lose about 40-50 pounds. Thanks everyone for commenting, offering solutions and alternative points of view, including those who felt I was making a big deal out of nothing and that I was trying to make her be friends with me. Never wanting that. I felt crazy for a while, but I'm thankful for the random strangers on Reddit confirming I'm not. Relevant comments. I kept up with your post, and that man's an idiot. Threw everything away for a friend like that. To me, there's more than what he's saying, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up together. But it's done now. He's not your problem, he's hers. Onward and upward. I'm so glad you broke up with him. Now go no contact. Stop communicating. You only have to explain once why you dumped him. If he doesn't understand, that isn't your problem. And she wants to be the most important woman in her guy friends' lives? OMG, LMAO. They're either all going to be single, or they're going to drop her one by one as they get girlfriends and wives. So I, a 34-year-old female, had been with my partner, 35-year-old male, for 7 years, and I found out his close female friend, who gets him like no one else, has been sending him nudes, sexts, begging him for making love, etc., and he's been reciprocating. I wouldn't mind, but she's married, and the husband has no idea. They've stayed in a hotel multiple times, whilst both lying to my face that nothing was going on, while I'm sitting on a mound of evidence that I've just quietly continued to add to by screenshotting anything he had on his phone. I stupidly told my partner I'd forgive him if he gave her up, and he adamantly refused, saying he loved her more than me, but he still wanted both of us, so I've quietly prepared to live without him, have let him renew the lease at our house with me while I figure my finances out, and I will be outing her as karma. I know where she lives, thanks to him buying her intimate toys on Amazon. She lives there with her husband's family. The kicker is, she's only able to stay in the country due to being married, and has said she'll use her husband for the visa and then leave him for my ex. If I tell her husband and her in-laws, he'll divorce her, and she'll have to leave the country for 6 months, a year, and then try and come back on a visa that she can't afford and has been unsuccessful in achieving in the last few years. Her husband funds it at the moment. She'd also end up back in a Muslim country with her parents, who would hate her if they knew what she had done, although her dad's currently cheating on her mum, so clearly it runs in the family. I wouldn't even consider doing this, and I would have forgiven her if she hadn't lied to my face. She cried her eyes out when I accused her, said I made her feel like a slut, and she'd never abandon her religion or her husband like that. 3 days later, she coitused with my boyfriend in my bed. I just don't know when to do it. She's back in her home country next month on a trip her husband paid for. I know he'd leave her there and cancel her return flight, but my ex would know it was me who outed her and would leave the house, and I can't afford my home by myself until next year. Or I wait till most of my debts are paid off and I can maintain the house alone and then do it. It would mean waiting nearly a year, but it would stop me from becoming homeless. Okay, let's see some comments below before the update. Somebody gave advice. Gather her info, seek a lawyer, start making an exit plan for yourself. And I would tell and show her husband what she has been doing. Original poster replied, "Thank you. I feel awful for him. I go to the gym with him and he's genuinely such a nice guy, at least to me. Obviously I don't know their circumstances at home. She hasn't even got a job, but goes to the cinema several times, hotel stays without him, new clothes every week, etc., and he pays for the lot. She's taking advantage of a kind man." Somebody said, "Are you seriously kicking him out and send her packing? They are clearly using you and doing right in your face. You knew all along. We just don't want to see it and confront it, so we wait till it slaps you. She's been clowning you since day one. Get a roommate, or suffer financially for a few. It's not like they can kick out overnight. It's better than getting shitted on by two people who are clearly in love, then let them find their way. My goodness, you are way too nice, lady. Ugh, and the fact he told you he loves her more. Kick him out." Original poster replied, "Thank you. I had a conversation with a social housing thingy, can't remember what they're called, who said they can't prioritize me due to me having an income and a car, etc. But if I was to arrange with the landlord to have me evicted, they'd have to house me as a matter of urgency, even if it was temporary. I'm going to weigh up all my options and see what I decide to go with. Thank you. I know I'm too kind. I think this has definitely been the kick in the teeth needed. Now for the first update. Last night, I bumped into her husband at the gym. Since she wasn't with him, I decided to tell him everything. He had suspected she was cheating, but didn't want to believe it and thought they could work on their marriage until I showed him the screenshots. I also told him about her plan to divorce him once she obtained citizenship. He asked for some time to gather any evidence he could find, like the intimate toys my ex bought her, to strengthen his case. He also asked if I could anonymously report the situation because he didn't feel ready to face it himself. He wasn't angry, just incredibly sad, and I felt awful for putting him through this, but he didn't deserve to be used like that. This confrontation happened sooner than I expected, but he promised to protect me from any fallout, considering I took a risk by telling him the truth. If they get an amicable divorce, she'll have 60 days to leave the country and would need to restart the visa process to return. If she is charged with lying to gain a visa, she could be banned for 10 years. I'm not sure if cheating qualifies as lying for the visa, but I don't have proof for that second update a month later. Well, a lot has happened in the last 30-odd days since posting. It feels like I posted that months ago, with how stressful everything has been. As I kind of expected, the husband backpedaled and decided he could save his marriage. He had no idea she had 3 different escape routes planned to run away with my ex. I had anonymously reported it, but I will never get an update on it. I assume it'll just flag up when they begin the divorce proceedings. Me and my ex were still cohabiting until about a week ago, after we just couldn't deal with the constant arguing. We'd be fine and peaceful, and then screaming at each other over the smallest thing. My final straw was when my ex decided to just completely ignore my existence after I'd done him the favor of driving him to and from work due to his car being broken down, and then asking for a lift to the gym where I also got dressed to go, to be told I'm not allowed to because she's there and I make her uncomfortable. When I informed him that I wouldn't be changing anything I do for her benefit, he told me that I was a cruel and horrible person for not being more supportive of their love for each other, and that I deserved to be unhappy. I laughed in his face, threw him out of my car, drove home, packed all of his belongings, and dropped them off at his mother's house. By dropped, I mean threw out the car drive-by style and called her to get them off the street before they got stolen. I then stewed for a bit and drove to the other woman's house. I told the family everything. Her father-in-law was probably the angriest out of all of them. I showed them everything and gave them copies of everything. The husband and her tried to cover it up as fun couple coition games. But I gave the parents enough evidence to know that that wasn't true, and even if it was, she was at least aware of me and that he was in a relationship with me. During this, the husband discovered that she had already been in contact with lawyers about how she could divorce him but stay in the country, so they've now begun divorce proceedings anyway. And she is going back to her home country. She has also blocked my ex on everything because he wasn't supposed to keep her spicy pics, sexts, etc. He'd also lied to her about living with me and talking to me. As far as she was aware, once I discovered the cheating, he'd moved out and was no contact with me, and the odd occasion she'd been at the gym and seen us together, he'd explained it away as coincidence. My ex is blocked on everything and living with his mum. I've returned his car to the dealership and accepted the payment plan they've given me for leaving the contract early. I'm just waiting to hear back from a cute little one, bed 10 minutes from where I live now, and 400 pounds cheaper, with a garden for my dogs. I'll lose my deposit and will owe them money for the damage he's done to the house, but I don't care anymore. I won't get to witness any more of the fallout, but I've seen enough to be able to carry on with my life, knowing I've hurt them as much as they've hurt me. It's petty, but it's made me feel better. This account will be pretty much non-active from now on, as I do my best to move on and fix the insecurities, distrust, and lack of self-confidence that have arisen. Thank you to everyone for your support and advice. I was truly alone, and it was a comfort to know strangers from all over the world could band together for our joined hatred of cheaters. Somebody said in the comment, "You're a queen. Your ex is genuinely awful. Which dumpster did you pick him up from?" Be careful not to collect future partners from dumpsters moving forward. As for her, good riddance. I don't understand people who think the betrayed spouse shouldn't confront the affair partner. Yes, the spouse is the biggest culprit and should get the biggest ass kicking. But if the affair partner is perfectly aware of the entire situation, then freak 'em, they're not innocent at all. Only if the affair partner is truly unaware, then they shouldn't be targeted, because they're also a victim. And in this situation, an affair partner is your friend, and the basis of friendship is loyalty and respect, to which she's shown you neither. So go off, Queen. Original poster replied, "Thank you, and God knows. You think you know someone." I even said to him, if he'd broken up with me and then got with her, I never would have cared. I would have been hurt, but not spiteful over it. And that's what I said, but he did try to argue before I blocked him that she didn't deserve any of this and that she's the innocent party. Last I checked, me and her husband were the only innocent parties, yet we were expected to wave them off into the sunset together? Another asked, "What did he do to the house?" Original poster said, "Broke multiple drawers by accidentally bumping into them, but somehow completely took them off their runners. Leant on the towel rail, and pull it clean out the wall. Same for a shelf. Broke the wardrobe, which I've had to purchase the closest match I could get, as they didn't make that one anymore. Left several dents in the walls by just not careful. Walls are basically cardboard." Just to clarify, not violence or domestic abuse, just stupidly heavy-handed and clumsy, especially after I confronted him the first time, but I'm sure that's just coincidence.